looking for a place where we could take our cars and jump from one building to the next. When we saw Abu Dhabi, the beautiful water, the beautiful dunes, and these incredible skyscrapers, we were like, okay, that's the place.
That skyline in particular became the backdrop for one of our even crazier action set piece, the Lycan driving between 3 buildings. To be able to do it there was amazing.
The whole idea behind this Lycan theft was that it had this one chip in it that they needed. And the car is being stored in the top of this enormous building. We were able to shoot that on stage and bring in 150 party members all dressed to the max in evening gowns and tuxedos.
You have no idea what level this party's about to go to.
Now let's figure out how to make this really interesting to the audience, because a car inside of a party, usually it just goes in and goes out the other side.
No one's ever seen this before. Time to unleash the beast.
So we came up with, hey, he's gonna make a lap around this whole entire party sequence.
And you're going, well, where are they gonna go? What the hell are they gonna do? Are they gonna drive in an elevator and go down the elevator?
You've got a lot of people in evening gowns and tuxedos, and they can't move really fast. And they're on a marble floor. They drop their drinks, now there's liquid on the floor.
Ready, and action!
Then I got word from James Wan, who said, hey, I want Jason Statham to come in here and start firing a machine gun at the car. And I want Jason to jump over the top of the car. I want the car to hit him. So when they come flying in here, Dom pitches the car sideways and hits Jason Statham's character, and he goes over the top of the car and to the ground and then gets back up and starts shooting. Jason goes over the top, we hit the piano, we hit the bar, we hit everything we could hit in there. And at the same time, he's being shot at by a machine gun and shot at by these grenade launchers, and so columns are blowing up around the car. So now we've got all these different avenues that really spice it up.
Dom, cars don't fly!
He turns, and he just makes a beeline for the big glass window.
Oh, shit!
And goes blowing out this window, jumps through the air across to the next tower. To go out the windows was on a set piece that was out in a parking lot.
9 cameras going, we have 6 of them out here. We got 3 cameras inside.
We had 40 feet of trussing deck, and then the windows were built on that, and Dan put the car on one of his air mortars, and we would shoot it out of that window and into boxes.
Survive!
We would get the exit from one side and then get the entrance on another side. And we did it multiple times for different buildings that we're supposed to go into. We built a set to land in at the Atlanta Convention Center.
Right there for the hit.
That second building, James wanted fairly empty, like it wasn't finished yet. Open walls with the aluminum 4x4 beams in it, just a lot of wires hanging down.
Effects is squib these windows. They'll be going hot. They're gonna blow the windows. These are breakaway aluminum frames. As the car comes through, all that's gonna break and go with the car.
I built ramps that were 3 feet tall, 120 feet long, and I had Steve Kelso drive it as fast as he could drive it and drop off. He had about 5 or 6 feet between there and the window. So we could get him dropping as if he's dropping in, hitting, and then just slamming through everything that was in that second building.
Nice, all right.
When we were able to use those towers, and we knew we could go farther than it, so we went from one building to the next to the next.
And then we did another landing with a redressed interior, which now was art gallery.
I say car, you guys snap around, and you will see the car jumping through, and then run right toward us. I've got real stunt people in there, all dressed up, you know, very nicely like their art gallery exhibitors and their patrons, and they've got to move pretty fast. Well, they can't see the car. It's on a countdown, and so I say, we're gonna say 3, 2, 1. Everybody has to be moving. You can't be thinking to move. You got to be moving because the car's coming in really fast. So that was the tough part.
3, 2, 1,
It lands, it goes out of control, and now Dan built a rig that spins as it goes across the floor.
Dan Sudik created this car that was on a complete rotating spindle, but would travel down the length of the set. So I could put my stunt doubles in there and film this car rotating. as they're trying to bust the whole dash loose to get this circuit board out that contains the device that they want, and then they've got to dive out.
Got it! Get out!
This Lycan, very, very low to the ground, hard to get in and out of. So doing an action sequence and sitting way down inside the car and having to dive out of it is a whole different ballgame.
We've got to get 2 stunt doubles out of a spinning car, and we want the car to jump out the window all in one shot. So we tested it. We took the doors off and said, let's see if you guys can jump out of the spinning car, and we found out that if you don't jump out as it's starting to spin, the back tail end hits you. You're rotating in there, you don't really know where you are. So the stunt guys had to look for some kind of pinpoint area out on the set, and they said, when I see this come around, I know I have to go out. We said, okay, and action. Spun the car, and they all dove out in the perfect second. We went through the window, the car jumps out the other side. Then I got a message from James, and he said, oh, by the way, I want Vin's character to hang up on the edge. So I had to put that character on a cable and rotate the car in so that he could jump out of the car and not penetrate through the glass.
Then they dropped the car 60 feet just to the ground for the impact of it going out the next window with our heroes out of it. It actually came out pretty cool. A lot bigger than what it started to be.
And that's the great part about Fast, is that you don't ever say no. You're always trying to give the audience more than what they saw than the last one.
James Wan came to this franchise with a goal of making each fight feel special.
I grew up watching the movies that Jeff Amada had worked on, so to have him be with me on this film was a fanboy's dream come true.
You want to take the audience on that journey and see the highs and lows within the physical movements and the action.
One of the funnest things I've had the opportunity on this film to do was shooting the fight scene between The Rock and Statham.
You just earned yourself a dance with the devil, boy.
They're both trained, but yet Schaub can't necessarily fight toe-to-toe with Hobbs, who's just a little bit bigger than him, you know? So it was more about having the maneuverability, having some fast moves, being quick on his feet, and stay one step ahead of Hobbs.
It's a great blend of Jason showcasing his martial art technique and Hobbs's very straightforward, hardcore way of fighting.
One of the things we tried to infuse into the fight is a bit of the personality of the characters. We're trying to bring some of Dwayne's sort of signature moves into his fight moments and bring some of the things that Jason is so good at. That's good. Yeah. So that makes it much more immediate.
It was really enjoyable and great to work with Dwayne and Jason because they're both action guys. The three of us discussed the character traits and their movements and what both sides wanted to accomplish and what they felt was a good give and take of the action sequence.
We put together really this incredible fight scene that starts in my office and goes through other offices, but not through the door. We go through the windows, through the walls, and desks.
Dwayne, he's a monster of a man, and you stand in front of him and you just go, Jesus, thank God this is a movie. No one comes more schooled and skilled than Dwayne. To have that experience and have that real sort of laser point accuracy when he's throwing punches.
A big guy, he moves really well, really quick. He's got a lot of wrestling moves, obviously, and grappling moves.
Goddamn IT guys. Sometimes what works best is a punch right in the mouth.
Ready, and action.
Over the years, I've had the opportunity to fight a lot of guys who have great reputations in terms of being Hollywood tough guys, and Jason Statham really takes the cake.
He's strong, powerful, fast. He's got great body mechanics, and there's more speed and timing involved because of his size.
It was very refreshing to bang it out with him, and it was very, very refreshing to create an incredible fight scene.
It was great.
this was gonna be a street fight? You're goddamn right it is.
The final fight was about them both going at it hand to hand. When I had a discussion with James, the main thing that he wanted to have a really cool weapons fight with metal clash and clang together with pipes or wrenches.
It was a fight to the death. You got a train killer against Vin. You mess with Vin, you're messing with the guy that's going to finish business.
In Dom's mind, he wanted to destroy Shaw with his bare hands.
I think why Deckard Shaw is such a compelling foe is because of what Jason Statham brings to it. He brings a sense of gravitas to that particular character, and he brings with it a sense of danger as well.
Dom's about getting a hold and throwing him around. Having basically a power move that would take him out.
This movie's full of testosterone, and I think the only way to get down and dirty, it's let's do this man to man. That's the way that the audience want to see this go down.
I knew this was going to be a pretty damn kick-ass fight between these two really cool, tough guys.
For the more physical face-offs, we had started training a month early, and it was definitely apparent that we were giving everything we got.
No matter how hard I get hit, even if it looks like I'm all the way over here, I'm hooked somewhere. I've got something. Every time he gives me a blow that puts me away, I'm back in. I'm always back in.
Vin definitely wants every film to be one notch better, every action piece to be one notch better than the last.
The scenes where we are intense with one another were not the most enjoyable scenes on the set because of tension that was present. Thank God that we're friends in real life, because the intensity that we had to feel against one another was so deadly.
I think what we ultimately came away with is something that I'm really proud of and is just super fun to watch.
All right, let's cut it.
Let me tell you something, man. Being the resident genius of our crew leads people to sometimes question Tej's ability to throw down when he needs to throw down. But I think I finally proved once and for all this package is brains and brawn, and I can whoop ass.
Okay, so this is how it works. We gotta move in sync if we're gonna pull this off.
Tej gets to finally let everybody know that he also knows some great martial arts, and I think it's gonna surprise a lot of people. I personally study a martial arts called 52 Blocks, or they call it Jailhouse Rock, and I was extremely happy to be able to implement that into this film.
I worked with him and choreographed stuff that would help showcase that and utilized his natural movements that he was comfortable with.
It's very fast, and it's a lot of knees, a lot of elbows, a lot of head, and continuous movement.
A few days of rehearsals and he had it down. We were going to bring him in for a week of training and get up in a day or two and had it dialed in.
Yeah, that's incredible.
When he's confronted, you figure that he's on the losing end, but on this one, he retaliates and takes somebody out very quickly.
You're really full of surprises.
Yeah.
So it not only surprised the characters that he's in the scene with, but it'll surprise the audiences too.
Chris had a ball doing it. Martial arts against brawn. So who's going to win? The tactician's going to win.
Just more and more surprises, and that's what I love the most about this franchise and about my character. People have no idea what I'm capable of.
And 4, 3, 2, 1, action! It's like being a kid in a toy store and just having unlimited toys. I love it. Ready. Ready, and action! Now, guys.
Cut.
See you around, Toretto.
can bet on it. Yeah, this one. Yeah! Come on! Man!
Action. Action. Here we go. And
I think we just need to make sure you get react to a little bit of the hitting flesh. And then, so they're kind of like boom, boom, and then we come around and she does this thing. So we'll catch it on this shot. Let's get Gina first. Yeah.
okay. So Gina, for which moment?
The cuff. So she kicks. So the camera's here.
You want me to do it? Keep him safe.
Okay. Right. So just let her come in there in the back.
Okay, so we'll start that frame and that's the
right.
Yeah, that's good.
So just not.
Ready and action. Cut and boom. Cut. Down. Ready and action. And cut. 3, 2, 1, action.
So Lee.
bud.
Yeah, I'm going to miss that there on this. It's going to be a miss for me. Yeah, I'm going to miss that there on this one.
We'll get you as far as Jim Paul. So you have to use that.
The tighter a pin, yep, right? You see that, and then you want to get like a couple cameras wider so you can see the distance. Okay. Okay.
Action.
Fellas, you better hurry up. They just took the convoy. And Dom. Ladies with them.
Let's go.
Tokyo it is.
So maybe
music resisting a little, and I'm like, no, he's absolutely right.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So take 1F, camera mark.
Okay, shake. Here we go. Ready, and action.
Yeah, get in the car. Get in the car.
A marker.
Shake. Go. 3, 2, 1, action.
That would be great.
For 260 shots in the film, we had to complete an authentic performance that was as close as we could imagine to the performance that Paul would have given for the character of Brian O'Connor. On set, a baseline performance was created with Paul's brothers, Caleb and Cody. This gave the filmmakers the ability to direct, light and edit the feature, and also for the other actors to perform and interact with. After each setup, we recaptured the facial performance in an 8-camera photogrammetry array. From this, we could replicate a digital version of the on-set performance. However, although this was great for timings, to remain faithful to Paul's creation of the character of Brian, we always went back to the source. It was vital for us to constantly reference footage from the previous Fast and Furious movies, not only to keep the nuanced detail and unique physiology of Paul, but also to keep the integrity of the character, rather than use artistic interpretation or another actor's interpretation of Paul's performance of Brian. Without scans of Paul to perfect the shading of the skin, we used the next best thing. We scanned and fully recreated Caleb and Cody digitally to understand the way their skin reacted to light, and also how it dynamically changes, either through vascular constriction for different expressions, or other physical changes such as tiredness or exertion. We needed to have the flexibility to replicate Paul in any situation the director wanted, to maintain Paul's legacy and to give audiences the film that Paul would have wanted for his fans.